Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about some highlights of planning and monitoring. As we know, this is one of a key chapter according to business analyst body of knowledge, and throughout this training we talk about how to plan, what is the good proper way to plan from the business analyst perspective, and how to measure the performance of a business analyst or the activity which is happening as we see here. The business analysis things process, which we are going to talk about, what are the different processes which we must follow. As we see here, planning for analysis approach, conducting stakeholder analysis, planning analysis activities, communication plan, requirement management process, managing overall performance. What exactly all this about? As we see, it's very important that we have the early stage of the project where we are going to capture all the different ways how to analyze the process. What are the different analysis process we are going to talk about? Which are the stakeholders who can negatively or positively impact our projects? Activities, the list of activities which must outline in the beginning of the project for the ease of the project to go smoothly, so that we don't have unidentified items towards the execution phase of the project. Communication plan, it must be well documented, whether it is formal or informal, in the early stage of the planning phase, where we know what are the multi-directional communications project may have and the business analyst may require. Requirement management process, as it stands out, requirement management process, that means we must have a better way to identify the requirement and how to manage that. What are the different parameters we can put towards to manage the project, manage the requirement in a better way. Managing overall analysis performance, we must have the parameters put in place to identify, to measure the performance of the analysis, to performance of the overall process. And that's what we are going to learn about. As we know, there are multiple list of activities which are involved as part of the activity or the phases throughout the requirement analysis process. What are these? As it says, input. What are the inputs which are required for the successful completion of this planning and the monitoring phase? As we can see here, we must need to understand, we as a business analyst must understand the value of the reason of the project, why we are doing it, before he or she may start working on the project. The expert judgment is required. The expert judgment is always provided by anyone who have a great interest or the knowledge for that particular business, or the subject matter experts from any particular area who can have great interest in your project, who can positively impact your project by providing the right and the successful information on given time frame. The organizational asset, when we talk about the assets, the organizational assets always comes towards any historical project, any knowledge base which you can have access to, where you can refer back to any overall flow of the project, any historical data, template, any kind of a documentation you can think about it, which can help you to understand what has happened in the past, or you can get some reference point from those documents. Performance metrics, as we say, it's a metrics. That means we have to outline some of the parameters that how we are going to measure the performance of the overall analysis process. Enterprise architect, now as a project business analyst, we are going to design something to satisfy the future need of the sponsor. Now, to satisfy the future need, we must understand the current architecture. What are the systems impacted? What are the inbound and the outbound flow between the systems? How the inbound and the outbound processes are working. So, before we go ahead and write down something for the future, we must understand what is the current flow, what is the current impact, how the system is working today, before we assess or judge the future project or the process. Activities. When we have set of inputs, we must process those inputs and try to massage the data so that we understand what are the different tasks a business analyst should have during the analysis process. As we see here, the analysis approach is nothing that how and when, what technique will be used during the business analysis process. Stakeholder analysis, it's a very important part of the project because we are going to understand who and when is going to have an influential impact on the project. So identifying the stakeholder is very important, and their role and responsibility, how bigger it could be, how smaller it could be, we must understand that. Planning BA activities. All the activities needs to be planned ahead of the time along with the dates, that how a business analyst is going to provide the deliverables and what are the different timelines for that. The business analyst communication, we must plan the communication, whether it is the formal or the informal, in terms of, you can think about the training team needs to be aware of, and also any other team which needs to be updated in advance, whether it is a formal or informal, before they start working on the project. Requirement management process, what it is all about, or the performance. We must plan how we are going to manage the complete process. What are the different dates which we meet to satisfy the overall scope of the project. The performance metrics, we must plan the list of action items, and we have to put together the parameter to understand how each of the parameter is going to be measured against that. Okay, if we have missed the timeline of the business requirement document, how the performance would be, whether we are going in positive side of it or whether we are going on the negative side of it. So performance measurement is very important throughout each and every task of the project. As we see here, the output. The output is nothing. It's a final outcome of the complete process, that when we took the input, massage the data, massage the input throughout the task processing, throughout the activity process, and then we are talking about the final outcome of it. What is the final outcome of what we just completed? The final outcome is you have the approach finalized. So you have a final document where you have all the approach finalized. You have a final communication plan. You have a final assessment of that, how we are going to measure the performance of the analyst or the analysis. So you have a final plan which is well documented. Analysis plan, how you are going to analyze the data. What are the different dates associated with that? So now you have a final analysis plan. All the process assets. What are the process assets? During the elicitation process or during the analysis process or whatever process we have completed so far, all the diagrams, all the workflows which we have captured so far, that can be considered as a project asset or the process asset. Requirement management plan. As we have gone through different stages of the activities, now we have the final requirement management plan which we can use. Stakeholder list, roles and responsibilities. Now we have a final concrete list of stakeholders and their roles and their responsibility, how they are going to contribute throughout the project life cycle. Towards the end, if you want to watch the complete video, please subscribe at www.addiox.com, or you can call us at 848-200-0448, or you can write to us info@addiox.com. Thanks and have a wonderful day.